Hello and welcome to our very first episode of Only Books in the Building. I'm your host, Emma Nichols, and here today with me is our co-host,
Juliet Rosenberg,
and our guest speakers.
I'm Lila.
I'm Grayson.
I'm Emmett.
Today's topic is movie adaptations, and I know there are some pretty good ones out there, but also ones that everyone hates, like Percy Jackson. So we could just start out there. What does everyone think about Percy Jackson?
Terrible.
The movie, they're so bad.
They literally combined two of the books together in one movie.
You know, they even knew that the movies were so bad they had to stop it there by completely botching the plot of the second movie to just finish it.
Yeah, because when I started watching the movies, I just read the second or third book, and so I watched the second movie, and I'm like, "What is this? This doesn't follow the storyline at all."
The description of Hades in the books is much better than in the movies. It's more accurate in the books to actual mythology.
I feel like that's true. A lot of it though is a lot of what they write in the books is more accurate than how they had it portrayed in the movie.
Yeah,
so the actual mythology,
including Percy's age.
I know,
they full on casted a grown man for a 12-year-old.
No, but now there's this new series out too.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
It follows the series so much better.
it's a lot better.
It definitely adds some more, but it's more background story with Percy.
And it definitely has a budget of over $50.
Yeah, and it's so much better. And they actually made the cast really diverse and stuff too. So kind of changed a bunch of stuff in the books. Annabeth is a white blonde girl, and they kind of racial swapped her. And
yeah, I think
series
I saw the trailer. I thought that was kind of cool how they went against everything that the book said for character description.
Yeah.
But it still turned out better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they didn't have to go Five Below shopping for the props anymore. But
yeah.
Rick Riordan was working on it with the producers, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I think he's a co-producer.
Yeah. Okay, well, and that goes for infinitely better.
Yeah.
I mean, but most of them have worked on other things and they've come out bad. Sometimes they work on them and they come out good.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 chance.
I think a good example of I think who had a lot of input, I think, on the movies was Harry Potter. I think J.K. Rowling helped cast Emma Watson.
Yeah, and Snape, she cast herself, Alan Rickman, and she wouldn't allow anyone who wasn't British to cast. She was very strict about who she would allow. Yeah, people American actors were offering to do it for free, and she would refuse because she wanted all British casts.
Wow. That's hilarious, honestly.
But I mean, it works. It makes it seem like it's an actual school that's only accepts people from that one little place. Because I feel there are other schools around the world that
Yeah.
the Beauxbatons, which is the French one.
And then there's one in America.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. They mentioned the girls' school for America and then the boys' school.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to watch that then.
Fantastic Beasts it's pretty good, most of them. It's she wrote a screenplay, so they can't really change everything.
Yeah.
But
I had the screenplay, but I don't, and I had the book of the actual
it was originally going to be a 6-book and movie series, but they ended up actually cutting it after number 3 and saying it was a satisfactory enough ending.
Was there a story in Fantastic Beasts? Because I have one of the books and it's just a list of
creature. Yeah, that's what the book is. I don't know. I think J.K. Rowling just kind of wrote movies for them because she probably wanted something to go along with all the beasts. Yeah. She probably was I made all these animals for this this universe, and I want them to get some picture shown.
It was also the book that Newt was writing within the series.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of shows how it's kind of breaking the fourth wall in a way. Hey, the author is this character in this movie.
Yeah, and she wanted to make sure it was accurately represented too, and not just oh, here's this random creature and here's another random creature.
Because I sometimes did that in the Harry Potter series. There were a few things that I think she did help with the movies, but there are a few things they took out that kind of, if you didn't read the books, made no sense.
Oh my god, I am so hung up over this one thing for the Sorcerer's Stone. So in the book, when they're at the very end, they're going through the trials to get to the actual stone. The very last trial is in a potion room. And Hermione helps Harry, and that really builds the bond between Harry and Hermione.
And she decides to give all that their
I know. Yeah. And no, but then in the movie they just take that out completely, and it's what they're done with the chess game, and then they just walk through a curtain, and guess they're there.
Yeah.
No,
because they even say Snape is one of the teachers protecting the stone, and then you never see
And
that.
the potion teacher. So like, come on.
What's the matter with you?
No, I feel like another one where they like took out valuable things though was with like Little Women, but also Lord of the Rings. I feel like they changed some things between
Lord of the Rings. They just did not include a lot of what was in it due to length, but in the extended editions, they still have some of it, which are worth a watch.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the old books that are actually really good are too long, and so they cut out all the detail of it. But then that, like, it's not the same then.
Yeah.
Like, where's all the detail that everyone loves?
We would all watch a 24-hour movie or had everything.
Exactly.
Like, there are like diehard fans out there of all these movies and books, and like we need that. Like when I heard there was a Lord of the Rings extended version, I was on that.
I feel like casting should be voted by fans.
You know, fans just have input.
I haven't read, but I watched the movies, and I was just cringing the whole way through the Lord of the Rings movies because Elijah Wood was terrible in it, and I was just like nearly crying the whole time because it was terrible.
No, I think I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and the Lord of the Rings got like really strong reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Like everyone loved the movies, but then everyone also complains like, but it's not like the books. Like the books are different. Like,
I mean, it is a good movie in and of itself. It just like as a book adaptation, there are like some parts that they had to obviously cut because these are long movies, like in the
Like, to begin with,
without the extended version. So I mean, I get it, but you know,
Have you seen the words in the book? They're very small.
I think another example of like a book adaptation that was kind of cut short was the Pride and Prejudice 2005 version because it is a 2-hour long movie, but they do cut out quite a few parts of it. Although I will say this might be controversial. I do like it more than the 1995 version. But it's only because the acting and casting was super good. The cinematography added to the story, and I felt like they didn't take so much away where the story was lost. So we still got to like make a bond with the characters and follow them and everything.
yeah.
So
No, the funny thing about the 1995 version is that in the Barbie movie that came out like last year, like it referenced when they're talking about depressed Barbie with thoughts of death, it referenced the BBC 1995 Pride and Prejudice with like a clip of Mr. Darcy yelling at Elizabeth about something. And I'm like, okay, so this is what people think of when they think of depressed Barbie.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, and the 24-hour long movie adaptation, The Hobbit, that was it has a lot of stuff that wasn't in the book, and you could have made one movie out of it, but they made it super long, and there's a lot of unnecessary stuff there.
Yeah. Like I find with the movie adaptations, they either add too much detail from the books or not enough detail from the books. Like there's no happy medium.
Yeah.
It's like either they think they're adding just enough, but they take too much, or there's like none.
Yeah. One example of them stretching it out is in the final movie, Battle of Five Armies. In the original book, the battle doesn't take up that much time, but in the movie, it's the entire movie. So it's not great.
also, I think the romance thing that they were trying to do with like Tariel and Kaylee, like Tariel's not even in the book. So I don't know.
I hate when there's like movies that add characters that weren't in the books, and I'm like, where did this person get from? Like, who is this guy?
And it's just for the sake of having like a love story and being able to say, oh yeah, they're enemies to lovers, but are they? Like, we don't know them.
No, one movie I absolutely hated was The New Little Woman that came out in like what, 2021? 2019. Close enough. No, but it had the same actress play both young Beth or young Amy and older Amy. And it jumped like through time. So it's like 1 second we'd be when Beth was still alive, and then in like 30 minutes through that, Beth dead. All of a sudden Amy's up in France, like, and it just jumps. But then Amy's the same throughout. The only thing they change is like the lighting and like her tone of voice, but they don't change how she dresses or her hair that much. Like everything's the same about her. And I'm like, you could have just had another actress or changed her clothing a little bit. Like,
yeah, there weren't a lot of signifiers of time passing, and I feel like that's really important, especially for period dramas, to get historical clothing right, especially if you're trying to time skip between like two, I'd say vastly different time periods.
Like it's like if you looked up like old Victorian ball gowns, like that's what they were wearing in this movie, but then the older version, actually like correct like period piece clothing, different actresses a little bit. Like they had everything right. And then for this one, they're like, you know what? Everything you liked about the old movie, we're gonna take and like flip. Also, we're jumping through time and same actress and like barely any change without the different years.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like that might have been kind of used to kind of like signify, like, we're talking about who, like Amy or Joe or
Amy.
Amy's the youngest, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm 9-ish at the beginning of the book, and then by the end she's like, I think emerging like early 20s ish.
Yeah, like she's advanced as a young lady. Like,
Same actor.
yeah, same actress. For like defending a defending point, but now I take that back. I know, like there's nothing to defend there.
Has anybody seen I'm Thinking of Ending Things on Netflix?
No, but I've heard of it.
I believe that it's the most accurate adaptation of a book because it takes the themes from the original book and it just cranks them up. And the book is a bit cryptic, but the movie makes it less while keeping it more cryptic. It kind of changes the plot twist in a good way, though.
Okay, so it took the story and then kind of like elaborated and twisted it, so you didn't really know what they were gonna do, or
Yeah, they didn't really twist it, but they told it in a very different way, and it's so good. I highly recommend reading it.
Okay, but do we all remember back like years ago when we were in like elementary school, middle school, when Wonder was all the rage?
Yes.
Wonder, like what was it about that movie and that book? Like no one read the book, but everyone knew the movie.
I read the book.
You read? Oh, you're also your kids then. Okay.
I think it's one of the cases where both the book and the movie were really popular. I think I also read the book, but it was just, I think even our elementary school, like they put it on all the shelves. They like put a whole display up for it, and they talked about it a lot.
I know. I read an interesting book. There was a book about a kid who has the same condition as Augie, and he was almost cast, but they ended up casting somebody who didn't have the condition and putting a lot of makeup on him instead.
Yeah, I saw a video of like him getting all the makeup on. I'm like, wouldn't it have been easier just find someone who actually could have fit the role without?
And then
adding,
they like almost cast him.
like, yeah.
I feel like that's the case for like a lot of like movies. It's like you had the chance to cast somebody who would perfectly fit the description and who could tell the story through like and have a personal connection to it, but then they choose who they think would better act it or for whatever reason. And sometimes it just leaves the audience like disappointed because they're like, okay, but what if somebody with the condition actually was able to tell their story through it, and you could have given them this opportunity to use their voice through Augie and his character.
Yeah. No, but why are some of these movie adaptations like so good and others so bad?
I think there's some that are good by themselves as movies, but so different from the books that like some of the fans don't like it.
Yeah, like the people who can connect the movie to the book are like, what is this? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Have any of you seen 1984, the movie?
I've read the book, but I haven't seen
The book
Yeah.
is about Winston's sex life, so I don't think I
Yeah, I think the society itself is a good society, like as far as dystopian goes. But the storyline is just about him in love.
Yeah, no, literally. It's like every now and then there's like a little bit of murder, a little bit of death, a little bit of the actual plot. And then the rest of it is just him and his sex life with this girl.
The most boring protagonist.
Literally.
Man.
Yeah, and you also can't like him. He's like he's like not even a very good person in the first place. So it's like, yeah.
I want to make sure you could actually watch it before watching it. They do. I think it's not great because they don't include a lot of points. They don't explain the society as well as the book, so they kind of leave a lot out. They just skip a major plot point entirely, and it's not great. It feels like it's made for the people who read the book because they don't really give you, again, they don't give you a lot of context. As a movie itself, I don't think it's great, but when reading the book, it's slightly better. But they nail the tone.
What are some books that we think should be movies? Like for me personally, I was so addicted to the Keeper of Lost City series when I was younger, and now they're actually making a movie for it. I think like it's supposed to come out and like I mean, I'm 14 right now. It's like when I'm 16, I think it was supposed to come out. So like in a couple years, like that. That's what I heard. But like I was so happy. I'm like, why? Not when I was younger. Like why now?
Yeah, I got into that series when I was in like middle school, so like 8th grade-ish, I think. and I read the newest book when it came out, like more recently. Like there was a gap of like a year between when I had last read it and then the new one coming out, but I was still like so excited to read it because it's just like such a long series that you like get pulled into it even if you don't think you will, but it's still like pretty good.
Yeah, no, for me, like I loved the series after about the first 5 books, and then when she kept writing them, I'm like, how long is this going to go on for? Like, how many more books am I going to
have ended already, to be honest.
No, but it's not just that. They're like a lot of books. It's like they're long books. It's like 800, 900 page books. I think there was one that was like over 1,000. Yeah. And like if like this long of a book keeps coming out on repeat, like every other year or something like that.
If they do end up doing a movie, I do hope they kind of cut out a lot of Sophie's like inner dialogue and stuff. I feel like there's just too much of Sophie.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sophie, but then not a lot of her interacting. It's like, oh my God, this thing happened. I have to go save it. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm going to run off on my own and probably die. Oh, wait, my friend randomly shows up. That's nice.
Like, oh, wait, I find Fitz's eyes beautiful.
Literally, all one is dedicated to their failing romance. I know. And the matchmakers, like, sorry for spoiling it, but... Like, that was definitely something. Another one we came up with though was like Inheritance Games, Land of Stories, Wings of Fire.
Yes, Wings of Fire.
I never got into those.
I again read most of them like early or late elementary school, early like middle school. It would be interesting since it is dragons, but
yeah,
I think it would still be kind of cool.
Like I feel like they're this Fourth Wing series. I feel like that's like Wings of Fire, but for teenagers. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I mean, I never got into the book, so I don't know exactly the comparison I'm making here, but I know it's like roughly like dragons.
I think Fourth Wing I think they introduced more humans to the world.
Yeah, they're like riders.
Meanwhile, like Wings of Fire, humans are just the scavengers, little beetles. Basically. I think Maximum Ride would be a somewhat good movie adaptation. Like it is kind of a dramatic, very repetitive storyline, but the fact that it's like winged humans and stuff would definitely be cool for a lot of people.
Winged humans?
Avians. I don't know how you would want to. They have wings.
I love how you bring it back. I like the winged humans. I didn't know like if there's a good term for that.
Yeah, I don't actually no fairies because they're not. But
yeah, like they have bird wings.
Yeah, the winged humans. Because that's what they are.
I think another, I've just heard this like circulating on the internet. A lot of people I think want like the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. They want that adapted into a movie, and I feel like a lot of people like fan cast and like all over like TikTok and social media. They're like, oh yeah, this actress. I'm not watching it if this actress doesn't play like Celia St. James or whatever. And I feel like it would be very interesting to see like these fandoms that already are wanting the movie to have a movie for the book that I read.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like the series, like the book series that have so many books. I feel like that's when they should kind of start combining a little bit into like only a couple movies. Because if they make a movie for each book individually, like Keeper of the Lost Studies, that's going to be like years of making all the movies.
Yeah.
And then they'll get tired of it and then cut it off after like the 3rd book with some ending that makes no sense to those who read it.
And like by the time they make all the movies, the like target audience would have like grown up already.
I know,
like, and they would have been like, I outgrew that series years ago.
Yeah, and then the kids in middle school nowadays are like, what is this? Like, I haven't read this before. Like, why is everyone talking about this?
And then sometimes, like in the series Divergent, they on the last movie, so it just ends randomly.
No, I loved the Divergent series. Actually, you got me into the Divergent series.
Mm-hmm.
And
so they basically what they did, they made book 1, book 2, book 3 part 1, and book 3 part 2 never happens.
It's like, you know how we left you on a cliffhanger? Sorry, you're gonna be stuck like that for a while.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past the first movie. It was so bad.
I actually never watched them, but
no, I feel like it's one of those movie adaptations that just like it's not a good movie and it ruined what I thought.
I don't like casting. So 4 is so much older than Triss is.
I know, like I look at Triss and I'm like, okay, she's like 18, 19, 20-year-old girl, and then I look at him and I'm like, he's at least 25, 20.
She's supposed to be 16.
What?
Triss is 16.
Oh.
And 4 is like what? Actually, like 18 or something.
He's actually only 18 in the book, so it's like not the most terrible difference.
He looks like a 20-year-old man. I mean, he probably is a 20-year-old man, but like.
Well, the other books I didn't really like was there's too much romance. They kissed way too much.
I kind of dislike how you got like this good book series like dystopian or something, like really good plotline, and then they had romance in there, and you're like, why?
Yeah,
Like I know it's
unnecessary.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's irrelevant to the plot and it's just like not well received by readers, it's like, do you even put it in the movie? Because like people are just not gonna like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the end of our book movie adaptation episode. Stay tuned next week or sometime within the next couple weeks for our episode on dystopian fantasies, whether or not we like them and do they add too much, like we were talking about with the romance. So stay tuned for that. If you want to try to find our podcast, you can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast. Thank you for listening, and we had so much fun making this episode, so stay tuned for our other ones.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.